There's something happening in the NBA right now that we honestly don't get very often anymore. Not manufactured drama, not social media beef, not a rivalry created by commercials or talking heads. This one feels real. Two young teams, two rising powers, same conference, same timeline, and they clearly don't like each other. What's forming between the San Antonio Spurs and the Oklahoma City Thunder isn't loud or theatrical. There are no press conference rants or viral soundbites. Instead, it's subtle, it's physical, it's quiet disrespect, and somehow that makes it even more intense. Because while one of these teams just won a championship, the other is already knocking on the door, and they're not waiting their turn. But the craziest part? This rivalry may have arrived earlier than anyone expected. And once you see how it's unfolding, it's impossible to ignore. For years now, NBA rivalries have mostly disappeared. Players move too much. Rosters flip every season. Teams barely stay together long enough to develop real tension. What we usually call rivalries are really just personalities clashing. One annoying defender, one loud trash talker, one villain everyone loves to hate. But that's not what this is. This is team versus team, identity versus identity, and those are rare. We've seen flashes before. Memphis and Golden State had a moment. The Lakers and Clippers flirt with rivalry whenever they're both relevant, but most of the time it fades as quickly as it starts. What's happening between San Antonio and Oklahoma City feels different because it isn't forced. It's organic. Both teams were built the slow way. Draft picks, development, patience. And now they're rising at the same time, which is usually when things start to get uncomfortable. On one side, you have Oklahoma City, fresh off a title. Young core locked in, defense overwhelming everyone in the league. At one point, on pace to challenge the all-time wins record. They weren't just winning, they were dominating. On the other side, you have San Antonio, a team that was supposed to be a year away, a team people assumed would be competitive but not threatening, a team that was building something rather than actively chasing the top. But that timeline changed fast. Suddenly, these two teams weren't just sharing the same conference, they were sharing the same space near the top of it. And when that happens, someone has to blink. Except neither of them did. And that's when things started to escalate. Every rivalry has a moment where tension turns into something else. For the Spurs and the Thunder, that moment came on Christmas Day. The game itself was intense, but the physicality is what stuck with people, especially the plays involving Luguentz Dort. Depending on who you ask, he was either playing elite defense or crossing a line. And that's the thing about players like that, they always divide opinions. But when you're a young Spurs team trying to climb the mountain and it feels like someone is flying into knees and bodies a little too recklessly, emotions get involved fast. Suddenly, it wasn't just basketball. It was personal, and that energy didn't disappear after the final buzzer. It carried over, because there was another layer forming underneath it all. No one officially called it a rivalry, but you could see it. Victor Wembanyama's body language said everything. The way he played, the way he reacted, the way he carried himself whenever Chet Holmgren was involved. Hard fouls, a laugh after a missed free throw, celebrations that lingered just a second longer than necessary. None of it was blatant. None of it crossed into outright disrespect. But it was clear. Wembanyama didn't view this as an equal matchup, and whether that was intentional or not, it sent a message, one that didn't need words. Because while Chet is an elite player in his own right, Wemby seemed to be saying, "You're not who I'm worried about." That kind of quiet dismissal is dangerous, and it added fuel to something that was already heating up, especially once the results started to pile up. Here's where everything flipped. San Antonio didn't just compete with Oklahoma City, they beat them over and over again. 3 wins in 2 weeks, against the defending champions, against one of the best defenses we've seen in years. And these weren't fluke games, they weren't lucky shooting nights, they were controlled, intentional, confident. Even more shocking? The Spurs weren't even fully unleashing Wembanyama. That's the scary part. There was no obvious blueprint for the rest of the league to copy, because no one else has a player like him. And Oklahoma City knew it. You could hear it in the way they talked after the games, acknowledging the losses, acknowledging the matchup problem. But the real issue ran deeper than one player. The Spurs are uniquely built to handle what Oklahoma City wants to do. Most teams panic under ball pressure. They rush passes. They turn it over. They give up easy transition points. San Antonio doesn't. They have multiple guards who can handle physical play without losing control. They don't rely on just one creator. If one option gets shut down, they simply move to the next. That flexibility matters, because Oklahoma City's defense thrives on chaos. Turnovers, runouts, easy buckets before the defense can set. The Spurs take that away. They don't speed up, they don't get rattled, and with Wembanyama anchoring everything, there's no fear at the rim either. Once that happens, the Thunder are forced to play in the half court, and that's where things start to crack. For most of the season, Oklahoma City's offense looked unstoppable, but a big part of that came from defense creating offense. Steals, deflections, quick strikes. When that disappears, everything changes. If Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has an off night, or if he's forced into tough shots, the burden shifts quickly. Suddenly, the team is relying heavily on secondary options and late clock creation. Against most teams, that's fine. Against San Antonio, it's not. The Spurs throw length, discipline, and patience at every action. There are no easy lanes, no free runs, no panic mistakes. And when the Thunder don't get those easy looks, the offense can stall, which is exactly what we've seen. There is, of course, one caveat. Jalen Williams has been working his way back from a wrist injury. Reintegrating him fully into the offense takes time. Timing matters. Rhythm matters. And Oklahoma City can point to that. The problem is, it hasn't mattered against anyone else. Only San Antonio. Meanwhile, the Spurs have been carefully managing Wembanyama's health too. They're not even pushing all their chips in yet. So while the excuse exists, it doesn't erase what's happening on the court. And it doesn't stop the bigger question from looming. Neither of these teams is built to disappear. Oklahoma City's core is locked in long-term. Even if they lose a role player here or there, the foundation remains intact. San Antonio's young trio is only getting better. There's no reason for them to rush trades or disrupt chemistry when they're already winning. Which means this isn't a one-season storyline. It's the beginning of a 5-year battle. And when you zoom out and look at the Western Conference, it gets even crazier. Houston, Denver, Minnesota, Oklahoma City, San Antonio. One of those teams won't even make the second round. That's absurd. And no matter how it shakes out, someone elite is going home early. We've seen rivalries before. Cavaliers and Warriors dominated a decade, but that was built on superstar pairings and short windows. This is different. These are homegrown teams, drafted players, development curves aligning at the same time, same conference, same goal. Only one can make it out. And every regular season meeting already feels like a preview of what's coming. There's no hiding, no avoiding it. They're on a collision course. The Spurs weren't supposed to be here yet. That's the part that should worry everyone. The expectation was progress, not pressure. Growth, not dominance. A nice 45-win season followed by a leap next year. Instead, they're taking the leap now, and they know it. You can hear it in the way they talk. You can see it in the way they play. There's no hesitation, no wide-eyed wonder. They believe they belong at this level, and they're already proving it. This rivalry isn't loud, it isn't flashy, but it's real. Every game raises the temperature. Every matchup adds another layer. Respect mixed with resentment. Confidence mixed with irritation. A 7-game playoff series between these two feels inevitable. And when it happens, it won't feel like a surprise. Because the signs are already there. If this is what the beginning looks like, just imagine what the ending will be.